One word. Sickening.
All seen this photo go viral, but what I'm trying to figure out is why y'all got on masks. If y'all walk around with y'all Confederate flag, if y'all walk around with this white supremacy, bullshit that y'all got going on, why y'all hiding y'all face?
To all the people that's about to celebrate this 4th of July, America's birthday, fuck you, to be honest. Especially to my people, Hispanic people, and anybody other than Caucasians, to be honest.
She is a black woman having to live in a white supremacist world. She was sitting in a sea of cowardness because those people can wear a mask while saying the most awful things. Meanwhile, she is there being herself and she had to sit there and be quiet or she might get hurt.
On America's birthday, 250th birthday, we got white nationalists marching to the Capitol on this D.C. train headed to D.C. surrounding this black woman, y'all. For one, I hope she made it home safe. This administration supports these white nationalists and these white supremacist groups. That's where we at, y'all. And it kind of makes sense because all these hangings and lynchings is tied to this group. This group on this train, y'all.
And I just think it's funny how a country can get this old and still be dodging one question. Because there's a question that's been sitting on this country's doorstep for most of its life. You can ask it at the cookout today and watch what happens. Whose independence are we celebrating? That's the question. Whose independence are we celebrating?
Whose independence are we celebrating? I mean, that's the question black people are asking as America marks another 4th of July, Independence Day. Now, across social media, many black Americans are raising some serious concerns about, whether the promises of freedom, the promises of equality have truly been experienced by everyone. But others point to recent events, say those images have reopened, all the conversations about race, about justice and belonging in America. I mean, in today's video, we will try to look at the different reactions, opinions, views, and arguments that people are sharing online and why this debate has also, become so emotional. So let's watch the video to the end. And at the end, you can have a full discussion. Then let me know your thoughts down in the comments respectively. But for now, let's dive into this and hear what these people are trying to share. If this is your first time, please subscribe for more of this. Otherwise, I'll see you later for more discussion.
All seen this photo go viral, but what I'm trying to figure out is why y'all got on masks. If y'all walk around with y'all Confederate flag, if y'all walk around with this white supremacy, bullshit that y'all got going on, why y'all hiding y'all face? Baby, the times we live in, you don't gotta hide. Like, for real, for real. But that ain't even what I came over to talk about. Where is the police? Where are the authorities? Because if this would have been black and brown to send any type of rally, these people was able to get on the subway. I'm talking about walk. Where was the police? That's all I want to know, because if that, like I said, if that would have been us or black and brown or anybody that didn't look like them, the police would have been swarmed. It would have been, a protest. Like, these people were able to get on the subway, walk to where they needed to be, get dropped off, and then have these flags, and then there was nothing, no security, no police, no nothing. They were just able to do this. And the thing is, we already know what it is. We don't give a damn, but if y'all want to take y'all country back, as y'all say, why y'all won't go back to y'all country? Because y'all was not born here. Like, even in the bullshit where y'all say Christopher Columbus and all of that, y'all was brought over here, right? And if you're going to get a land back, the story that they tell, if you're going to get a land back, it would be the Indians, not y'all's. See, this is the problem with America, white men and white people in America. They think that this is theirs. This is not nobody. This whole country is built on immigrants. But I digress. But y'all know what to do. Get in the comments. Let's go. How y'all feel about this? I just want to know where the police was at. Because I ain't see none. Did y'all see them? Y'all let me know.
400 masked white supremacists descended on Washington, D.C. today, calling for a total Aryan victory. Here is some video from Mitchell Miller of WTOP.
We claim America! 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 We claim America!
The group carrying Confederate flags is called Patriot Front. Now, Donald Trump, as you know, is no stranger to white supremacist groups. The Proud Boys and the KKK protested at Charlottesville in 2017 and famously killed a woman driving their car into her. Trump at the time said there were good people on both sides, referring to the white supremacists and the pro-civil rights protesters. The Proud Boys also played a key role in January 6th in the insurrection, and one of their leaders, Enrique Tarrio, was convicted of, I believe, 22 years in prison for seditious conspiracy, only to be pardoned completely by Donald Trump. Oath Keepers was another group at January 6th at the insurrection. Their founder, Stuart Rhodes, was also convicted of seditious conspiracy, and Trump let him go as well by commuting his sentence. Finally, on September 29th, 2020, Trump was called on to denounce the Proud Boys. Instead, he responded, "Stand back and stand by," which to many people sounded like he was saying, get ready to go into action and do something violent. Well, what happened a few months later? They stormed the Capitol along with everybody else. And then what happened? Trump pardoned and commuted all the sentences of these folks. All in all, Trump pardoned or commuted about 1,600 sentences of the insurrectionists on January 6th. About a third of them had attacked police. And then Trump tried to set up a fund, as you know, for almost $2 billion to give money to the people who tried to violently overthrow our government. That at least has been put on hold, but we need to keep an eye on it.
America turns 250 years old today. There's going to be a lot of cake, fireworks, flag sales, mattress commercials, politicians screaming the word freedom until it doesn't sound like a word. And I just think it's funny how a country can get this old and still be dodging one question. Because there's a question that's been sitting on this country's doorstep for most of its life. You can ask it at the cookout today and watch what happens. Whose independence are we celebrating? That's the question. Whose independence are we celebrating? On July 4th, 1776, who actually got free? And what is that day supposed to mean to everybody who didn't? Just watch how fast the subject changes. You'll get the troops, you'll get the men of their time. But what you won't get is an answer. And that's not an accident, and I can prove it. Because that exact question was asked out loud, formally, to a room full of important people, 174 years ago. In 1852, a man in Rochester, New York got invited to give a 4th of July speech, which honestly was a bold invitation, because that man had escaped slavery 14 years earlier. And thanks to the Fugitive Slave Act passed 2 years earlier, he could legally be captured anywhere in the country, including on that stage, and returned to the people who claimed to own him. They asked him to come celebrate independence in a country where more than 3 million people were still enslaved. He said, "No, thank you. I'll come on the 5th. And then he delivered what might be the greatest speech in American history. And here's what people get wrong about it. They quote the angry part, but skip the architecture, because he spends the entire first section praising the founders. Genuinely, he calls them brave men. He praises the Declaration, the principles, the courage of 1776. He lets that room full of white abolitionists relax into the story they came to hear. Then he pivots on one sentence. This 4th of July is yours, not mine. And the room can't escape, because he just spent the first 20 minutes proving that he understood their founding story better than they do. And then he asks it, what, to the American slave, is your 4th of July? And he answers his own question. A sham. A day that exposes more than any other day of the year the gap between what this country says and what this country does. His name was Frederick Douglass. That speech is 174 years old. This country is 250, which means that America has spent about 70% of its existence with this question sitting in front of it, on the record, in writing. So let's do what this country never did. Let's answer it. Whose 4th of July was it? Not the enslaved. It took a war to even start that conversation. And the 13th Amendment kept a loophole, except as punishment for a crime. That got converted into convict leasing before the ink was dry. In Alabama's mines, some years, the death rate for leased convicts passed 30%. They found a way to make slavery deadlier and kept the receipts in a ledger. Not indigenous nations, and you don't have to dig for this one, because it's in the birthday document itself. The Declaration of Independence, the actual thing we're supposed to be celebrating. It refers to Native Americans as merciless Indian savages. That's in the text. 27 grievances down. And when the killing slowed, the nation just switched over to the children. Kill the Indian, save the man. Right. That was the official philosophy of the boarding schools. Children taken by force, hair cut, languages beaten out of them. The schools kept their own graveyards. They are still finding children with grave-penetrating radar. Still. Not women. And I don't mean the vote. Under coverture, a woman legally ceased to exist. Her property, her wages, her body, absorbed into her husband. Marital rape was legal in this country until 1993. 1993. A woman couldn't get a credit card in her own name until 1974. Couldn't sit on a jury in every state until 1973. Meaning that women were tried by juries that women were barred from.
To all the people that's about to celebrate this 4th of July, America's birthday, fuck you, to be honest. Especially to my people, Hispanic people, and anybody other than Caucasians, to be honest. Deep down, the roots of this country's not for us. It wasn't built for us. And it's just simply not for us, you know. Rules are not the same for us. To be honest, I really hope this is the last time that this country can celebrate this bullshit. Because it's about time for this country to go. I just wish it would go on the day of July 4th. But you know, that's all up to God's timing. And I can't wait for it. But for my people that still don't understand, you just, a lot of y'all just not gonna wake up. Some people gonna celebrate this for the kids and say it's for the kids. No, nigga. It's not for the fucking kids. It's just that you're willfully ignorant, you know? You don't want to learn shit. Some people know about the whole truth, but they don't give a fuck. And that's the fucking problem.
This picture just stopped me in my tracks. It's America's Independence Day today. 250 years since its founding. One woman sits alone on a Washington, D.C. metro train. A picture taken by Reuters. She's surrounded by masked white nationalists heading to a march. She's not shouting, she's not reacting. She's just simply there. What a haunting image, and one that should make every decent human being feel uncomfortable. This picture needs to be remembered, not because of fear, but because this should never be allowed to become normal.
America was founded right here in Philadelphia. I know we can forget a lot in 250 years, but it looks like quite a few of you need a reminder about the values that America was founded on. So here is a reading of the Declaration of Independence. In Congress, July 4th, 1776. The unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them. A decent respect to the opinion of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. Philly is the culture.
I want you to take a good look at this picture right here. This picture was taken today in Washington, D.C. in July 4th of 2026. A white supremacist group called Patriot Front decided to have a march on Washington, D.C. at the Capitol, and they were sprouting off their racist rhetoric. Today they used public transport, and there was a black woman sitting there on the train. I am not going to sit here and say that she was brave. I am not going to sit here to say that she was a hero. She is a black woman having to live in a white supremacist world. She was sitting in a sea of cowardness because those people can wear a mask while saying the most awful things. Meanwhile, she is there being herself, and she had to sit there and be quiet or she might get hurt. That's a black experience in America. Even on Independence Day, we still ain't free.
Now, after watching these people sharing their concerns, sharing their views, their perspective, I mean, many people online say this image became, much bigger than just, photograph. It became a symbol of how different Americans, experienced the 4th of July. Now, some of the people focused on, that black woman sitting quietly in the train, surrounded by masked demonstrators. But others questioned why such scene happened on Independence Day. They said it reopened the painful conversations about race, about, equality, about public safety, and whether everyone feels equally protected in America right now. Now, there are, concerns that black people are raising. I mean, let's try to look at some of them. We can just have like 4 or 5 concerns that black people are raising. Actually, there are more concerns, but for the sake of making this video as short as possible, let's just explore, 4 concerns. Don't forget to share even what you think is your concern, or whatever you can share down in the comment section. But for now, let's look at the concerns. Concern number 1 is like, does freedom feel the same for everyone in the United States? Like, many black Americans say the biggest question is whether the freedoms celebrated every 4th of July are experienced equally by all American citizens. Now, to them, they argue that Independence Day celebrates liberty and equality, Yet many people still feel like they're excluded, they are segregated, they are excluded from those promises. I mean, when they look at the recent events, they say they are reminded that freedom is not only about what is written in history books, what is like documented, but it is also about how safe, how respected and how valued people feel in everyday life in America. That's why many people ask, like, whose independence are we really celebrating? That's, that question is hard to answer, like she said, but it's worth asking. Now, they believe that that question deserves an honest conversation rather than immediate dismissal. It's a serious question. It needs to be discussed. Another point, like concern number 2, is about fear and public safety. Let's talk about it now. Another concern raised throughout the discussion is the feeling of, like fear. You feel like you are intimidated. You feel like you are at a certain risk. You are threatened. Many reactions focus less on demonstration itself. Of course, demonstrations, they happen once and again. But people are more on the image of the black woman sitting quietly in the train, where it was surrounded by masked, marchers, these demonstrators. People say the picture was unsettling, so sickening, because they believe, like, they imagine how intimidating that situation could have felt. She could not do whatever, otherwise, these people could even attack her, because they are in mask, it's not necessarily about who is doing what. So she was at that risk, okay? Because she was at that moment where you say, what is going to happen? How am I going to be in the next moment? So that's so sickening, like somebody pointed. But whether or not anything happened physically, it's something so, concerning to be in that situation, because you don't know what those people are thinking about you. And many people argued that no one should feel isolated or vulnerable or, like intimidated in that, moment, while simply riding public transportation. And somebody also asked, why would they use public transportation? Why would they do that? Because for them, the image represents some sort of anxiety that, still exists whenever racial tensions become highly visible. And concern number 3 is about different standards in policing. Now, another issue repeatedly mentioned in this video is about policing itself. What about it? Let's discuss. Several people questioned whether authorities would have responded differently if the demonstrators had, belonged to another group. They argued that this perception of unequal enforcement, unequal, policing has existed for years and continues to influence public trust. So, whether those comparisons are accurate or they are not, but I think they are worth paying attention to. Now, the concern itself remains important, because public confidence depends on people believing that laws, policies are applied fairly to everyone, every citizen in America. Many commentators say consistency matters just as much as the enforcement itself. So I think that's that's a powerful concern. Now, concern number 4 is about America's history. What about it? People are having that concern, like America's history is still shaping today's conversation. Now, many black voices in the discussion in this video connected today's events with Americans' long and complicated history. They referred to slavery, to segregation, discrimination, inequality, or on so many things and other historical injustices. They argued that those issues cannot simply be separated. You cannot just ignore them. Okay, they cannot be separated from modern debates about patriotism. I mean, for many people, Independence Day is both a celebration and a reminder that different, communities experience the America's founding in very different ways. People have different perspectives, different experiences of how America was built, was founded. They believe history should not be ignored while people are celebrating independence, because they are more into that. Okay, like how did this independence come? How was America built? So people view that independence differently when they refer to history, but acknowledge the history while celebrating, this independence is what really matters. So yeah, future generations can better understand why these debates continue today when people take this the way it is supposed to be done, according to some of the comments. Now, concern number 5 is about the future of America, like the unity in the future of America. Now, let's talk about it. Finally, many people expressed some sort of concern, like what exactly is going to happen, as time goes. People are looking at these demonstrators using public transport in mask. What's the future of this? Okay, what's the future of this? Where are people heading to? You see, those are just concerned about where the country is heading, rather than seeing Americans becoming more united. They worry the nation is becoming increasingly divided, separated along political, racial, and ideological lines. Now, images like this quickly spread across social media, because like somebody says, it's so sickening, it's so disturbing, especially when you take it from the angle of this woman in that train. It's so disturbing. Like, what exactly was she thinking is gonna happen at the end of the day? And often it's also symbolic. People are using it to have some deeper meanings that about what exactly is the future of all this. Some people believe that these moments should encourage serious conversations about unity, about respect, about equal treatment, about justice, all those things, while others fear like the divisions will only continue to grow. So regardless of political views, I don't know what your take is, but many people agree that the trust between communities cannot improve unless difficult conversations are allowed to happen openly and respectfully. And those difficult questions, like whose independence are we celebrating, those questions should be included in while people are celebrating like the day, the Independence Day, 4th of July. But now, brothers and sisters, at the end of the day, I think this discussion goes far beyond, one photograph of this woman in the train, or like this demonstration itself, or just, this Independence Day itself. I think it reflects deeper questions that many Americans continue to debate, continue to discuss about freedom, about equality, about history, about identity and national unity. So whether people agree or they disagree with some of the opinions shared in this video, but I think that the reactions in this video show that these issues remain deeply emotional for many communities, whether black community, white community. And perhaps that is why, the question continues to echo, like every independence, like whose independence are we celebrating? So I don't know. Can you answer that question? Let's discuss that question down in the comment section, and I'll greatly appreciate to hear from you. Whose independence are people celebrating? Anyway, I love that you came to watch the video. I love that you always come. If this is your first time to watch the video, please subscribe for more of these updates. Otherwise, I love that you came to watch the video. See you next time.